Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 281. Please turn to page 281. Problem number 77 is what we're going to do on page number 281, and today is our lesson number 98. Problem number 77. It says that $60,000 was invested. We are also told that sum was invested at X% and sum was invested at Y%. We are told that the total interest that was earned was $4,080. The question simply is, what is X? That's all. Very simple, straightforward question. As always, I tell you, the questions are of course always simple and straightforward. It is the answer that gets prickly. Let's begin then. The sum that is invested at X dollars, let's call this amount P dollars. Therefore, the sum that is invested at Y dollar would be, in our case, because total is 60, so it's going to be 60,000 minus P dollars. P for principal, you understand? Let's see what they tell us. The first statement tells us that X equals 3y over 4. X equals 3y over 4. Now, since we are interested in solving for X, I'm going to solve this for equation for Y and see what we can do here. So that implies that Y equals 4x over 3. Now we are told that sum is invested at X%. Sum is invested at X%. And we are calling that amount P. Therefore, the interest that we're going to earn on P dollars is going to be P times the X% plus the remaining amount, which is 60,000 minus P. 60,000 minus P at Y%, which is this amount right here. At Y%, which is 4x over 3%. And this interest we are told equals $4,080. Now that is our equation. The problem is that we have two unknowns here. We do not know the value of the P and we do not know the value of X. Since we have two unknown and only one equation, of course we cannot solve for it. We need one more independent equation. So the first statement by itself does not get us anywhere. But I have a very strong feeling that whatever they tell us in the second equation, if somehow we can combine the two parts, I think we will get someplace. But the first statement by itself doesn't do anything. A, D, B, C, E. Because the first statement by itself is not enough, the answer cannot be A or D. Let's look at second statement. I'm going to erase the top part so we can put the second statement up there. Again, one more time. So this is what we are working with. We have $60,000 that we have invested. We are told that we invested sum at X%, which we are calling P. P for principal. P dollar is invested at X%. Therefore, 60,000 minus P, the remainder amount, is invested at Y%. The total amount of interest that we earned was $4,080. The question is, what's the value of X? In the second statement, they tell us that for every $3 invested at X%, $2 $2 is invested at Y%. $2 is invested at Y%. That makes 1 unit. That makes 1 unit of 5. Since this is $60,000, and it is made up of $5. 1 unit is made up of $5. For every $3 that you invest at X%, you want to invest $2 at Y%. That's how you want to split it. That's how you want to diversify it. So 1 unit is made up of $5. If you will divide 60,000 by 5, we will find that 1 unit represents $12,000. 1 unit represents $12,000. So what this tells us, what this implies here, what this tells us is that $36,000 is invested at X%, because it's 3 times 12,000, and $24,000, which comes from the $2 part, is invested at Y%. And that amount is 4,080. Again, as we can see, second statement by itself does not do anything, because here again we have the same situation. We have two unknowns, X and Y, and only one equation. We cannot do it. We cannot do anything with it. But let's see what happens if we put them together. Let's see what happens if we put them together. So second statement by itself is also not enough. Second statement by itself is also not enough. First was not enough. So the answer cannot be B. Let's put them together and see what happens. Where should I put it? I need the room, so I have to erase it. If you put them together, one and two, what we find is that we have $36,000 invested at X%, which is X over 100, plus $24,000 invested at Y%, and Y we are told from the first statement, Y we were told was 4 over 3 4x over 3%. You see, we have replaced this y. This part is the y part. This part comes from the fact that y equals 4x over 3. So $36,000 at X%, $24,000 at Y%, and now we know that equals 4,080. Equals 4,080. That's it. We have one straightforward equation, all expressed in terms of one variable. We can very easily solve for y. And that's all it is. That's all it is. So putting the two statements together will do the job. And therefore the answer is C. That's it. We are done. The problem is finished. Problem is finished. The answer is C. But for some strange reason in my notes I have written down its answer being D. I'm going to check it in the back. 77. Answer is C, not D. I miswrote it. Now, what we are about to do is purely for learning purposes. This is not something we'll be silly enough to actually sit down in an exam and actually do it out. Just for learning purposes, just to get some exercise. We're going to actually solve this thing. We're going to actually figure out what exactly X is. Shall we? Let's do it together. It's not that bad. So if you divide the top and bottom by 100, the two zeros drop out and these two zeros drops out, so it becomes 360x. And here I see a 3 and here I see 24. First cross out the two zeros cancel out, it becomes 240. 3 drops out with 240 and becomes 80. So it's 80 times 4. 80 times 4. 80 times 4 is 320. X equals 4080. Let's see what happens. 300 plus 300 is 600. 680. 680x equals 4080. Let's do it on the top here. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. So 0 drops out. So we end up with x equals to 4080 divided by 408 divided by 68. So let's begin our journey. We could have done it here. Let's divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2, it becomes 34, and this becomes 204. Let's divide both sides by 2 again, so it becomes 17, and this becomes 102. How many 17 in 102? Now how do I know that 102 is going to go evenly into 17? I don't, I'm just asking, I'm just curious. We know 17 times 5, 17 times 5, 7 5s are 35, and then 5 plus 3 is 8, is 85. It makes 85 because I knew that 16 5s are 80. 16 5s are 80, 17 5 are going to be 5 more, it's 85. So if we were to add one more 17 to it, we get 2, carry 1. There you go, what do you know? 102. Which means 17 divided by 102 is exactly 6. So x turns out to be 6%. X is 6. Let's finish it up here. Since I started here, I'm going to do the same thing what we did here. Divide top and bottom by 2, it becomes 34, and this becomes 204. Divide top and bottom by 2 again, this becomes 17, and this becomes 102. And we just saw that 102 is made up of 617. So 17 divided by 102 is 6. So x equals 6. That's it. The very last thing I want to do again we're getting too much into this thing, but the very last thing I want to do is actually I want to verify it. Let's verify it on the bottom here. All of this thing is just purely for learning purposes, for fun. You understand? The problem was done a long time ago. Let's verify it here. 36,000 at 6% plus 24,000 at 4/3 of 6%. 4/3 of 6%, 4 divided by, so it's 8. 4 times 2 is 8. So 24,000 is invested at 8%, 36,000 is invested at 6%. Now what is 36 times 6? What is 36 times 6? The reason I'm asking is because I'm hoping that you will know your cubes. You have to know your squares 1 through 20 for exam. It saves a lot of time. You must know your squares 1 through 20, and it also helps to know your cube 1 through 10. Not all of them. I'm going to show you which one you should know for the exam. Not all of them, but you should know some of them. Here's how you do it. 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 4 is 64, 5 times 5 is 25, 25 times is 125, 6 times 6 is 36, and 36 times 6 is 216. 216, you should know that. The 7, 8, and 9, you don't have to worry about it. And you should know your 10 cube, which is 1000. These are some basic things that you have to know, basic facts in math that you have to know. There are quite a few of those basic mathematical, arithmetic facts that you have to have at your fingertips. So 36 times 6 is 216, so is 6% means 36,000 times 6 over 100. Because it's 6%, so it's 6 over 100. So 100 drops out 2 zeros, and it's 360 times 6, which is going to be 216 with a 0 at the end. So that's this part. Plus 24,000 times 8%. Again, percent we could drop out to 0, and it's 240 times 8. Let's find out what 24 times 8 is. Now what I'm about to do here, actually you shouldn't have to actually do it out. You should think a little bit. I'm trying to figure out 24 times 8. If you were to come up to me and ask me what is 24 times 8, my answer is going to be very simple and very straightforward. I will have the answer to that question like that. And my answer would be, how the hell do I know? I know what 25 times 8 is. I know what 25 times 8 is because 25 cents is a quarter. 8 quarters makes a dollar. So if 25 times 8 is 200, 24 times 8 must be 8 less than that, which is 192. 192 with a 0 at the end because we have a 0 here. Now you will see 2160 plus 1920 gives us what the problem told us we should give us, which is 4020. 2160 plus 1920 gives us 4080. It makes sense. It verifies. It works out. That's it. We're done with the problem. Well, we were done with the problem as far as the exam was concerned a long time ago, but I'm officially done with it. Let's do the next one, shall we? The next problem is very straightforward. Apparently we are buying donuts and something else. Bagels, and they are all equally priced. All the bagels are same price, all the donuts are same price, which is just as well. And we are told that the price of, or we are actually being asked, price of 5 donuts and 3 bagels is what we are asked. So we have two unknowns. If we have two unknowns, we have to somehow come up with two independent equations. The first equation tells us, first statement rather, tells us that if we were to buy 10 donuts, and 6 bagels, the price is $12.40. Now this is a very silly question. This is a very childish question. This is a very babyish question. I don't know who would write something like this. Because if you were to divide both sides by 2, if you were to divide both sides of the equation by 2, you end up what you begin with. 10 divided by 2 is 5 donuts and 6 divided by 2 is 3 bagels. And therefore the price of these two quantities, 5 donuts and 3 bagels, is just $12.40 divided by 2, or $6.20. The first statement does the job. A, D, B, C, E. Since the first statement by itself does work, answer cannot be B, C, or E. Now the reason first statement by itself works, is only even though it's only one equation, is because it is no longer two unknown. We're actually looking for the price as a unit. This thing actually gives us the price as a unit. It gives us the price of 5 donuts and 2 bagels as a unit. It's half the price of 10 donuts and 6 bagels. Let's look at second equation. Second equation tells us that the donuts cost 15 cents less than a bagel. A donut costs 15 cents less than a bagel. We want to buy 5 donuts and 3 bagels. Since donuts are 15 cents less than a bagel, so it's 5 times b minus 15 plus 3 times b. The problem is, we do not know what b is. This does not provide us with the price of bagels. So simply knowing that one is 15 cents less than the other does not help us figuring out the price of the quantity that we want to buy, because we do not know the price of bagels. Therefore, second equation by itself does no good. And the answer is A. That's it, we're done. We finally finished this page 281. We can move on to the next page, and so on and so forth. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.